this mic on?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So, Mitchell, is there any movies you are looking forward to this year?
I'm really excited. Movies. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Oh, I'm really excited for that. I just recently finished the fourth book for a series of unfortunate events. I'm trying to get through the book series as much as possible because later on this year they're going to be releasing a movie of it, and the trailer looks good. I'm excited to see it. Jim Carrey and all. This year's been quite good for movies. I really loved Shrek 2. Man, I want to see that again. That was just amazing.
What about The Incredibles?
The Incredibles. Oh yeah, that's that's the one with the guy trying to get his belt on, and it's not fitting. Oh, that looks pretty good. Um, I don't know if that's actually going to be in the movie, but you know, Pixar usually hits that out of the park. Now that I think about it, there's actually not a lot of superhero movies. Spider-Man 2 was amazing, and yeah, I really hope there's more superhero movies in the future.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mitchell Ryan Darcy, and today I'm going to be watching The Incredibles 2. Is there a Va in front, or is it Incredibles 2? The Incredibles 2. Okay. Super excited to watch this film. In the sense that I remember seeing it back then in 2004, and I loved the film. It's just, that was 14 years ago. How old was I? 10 years old? My gosh, I was 10 years old around that time. My gosh. It should be interesting, because I decided to watch the first one just before seeing the second one. So I just recently rewatched the first one for the first time in a long time, and it still holds up really well, and I really love it. It's just done so well, and it's not it's a really good line between not your typical superhero film, but at the same time, it does play on superheroes and stuff like that, and some of it is like the director, I think Brad Bird, he's really the whole every scene in that, there's really good gags, there's really good jokes, there's also really good serious moments, and it's just a really well done, put together film, The Incredibles. It even, I think in some aspects it actually transcends it being just an animated kids film, or an animated family film, I should actually say. I'm a little bit worried that 14 years for a sequel, like, is it gonna feel drastically different? The only thing I know, because I didn't see any trailers for it and all that. I think there was one minor teaser trailer with the baby, with shooting off laser eyes and stuff like that, or something like that. But apparently the movie takes place right after the first one, so like immediately after the first one ends, which I'm a little excited for, because I love the way it ended, The Incredibles, with the Underminer. Like, I really kind of hope, part of me really wants to see that battle finish, because it's such a cliffhanger. So it'd be really amazing if the second movie starts off with them in the parking lot fighting the Underminer. I think that would be amazing. That's really my only hope for the film. Like, other than that, I have no idea where it would go or whatnot. Rewatching the first one, I'm reminded just how much of a it reminds me so much of a James Bond film. The whole island and the just the music. The music is so cool because it's like a superhero James Bond. That's literally what the soundtrack sounded like, and it's such a cool mix. And the island setting and them trying to infiltrate the base and all that, and it was a really cool mix. It's something you wouldn't think styles would mix, but it was pulled off beautifully. So I just wonder if that's gonna be in the second one. Like, I don't know. Like, let's face it, it's not gonna take place on another island. That would be kind of stupid, just to be a sequel and then copy everything about the first movie. So I'm just wondering how much of a drastic change the second one's gonna feel, and I also want to know, because 14 years ago we didn't have the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We didn't have Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. We didn't have those things. At the time, we've only had, I think, Spider-Man 1, 2, maybe Daredevil. I don't know if that was just before or just after 2004. I think. But like we didn't have this big superhero impact that we have now. So it coming out the year of Avengers Infinity War and a couple other big things superhero wise, it's like, is the Incredibles not gonna be able to survive in this climate of superhero movies? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, apparently it's doing really well, and apparently I think it broke records for best highest grossing animated film of all time. I'm not sure. I have to check that up afterwards. But yeah, so I'm gonna go get my tickets now because I don't know how packed it's gonna be. Hopefully there's not, like, I'm fine with kids being in the theater and all that. It's just, I just hope nothing's ruined for me movie experience wise, because there's always a chance there's gonna be a crying baby or kids running around kicking the seats or that. I mean, other kids movies I've seen recently, like, well, not really recent, but Lego Batman and all that, I've had a fine experience. So I just hope when Incredibles 2, I mean, I guess any movie could be ruined by bad audience members, but anyways, time to watch The Incredibles 2. I just got back from watching Incredibles 2. It is a couple days later because when I went to actually go in line to go purchase tickets to go see the movie that day, um, it was completely packed, and there was an error with their machine, so I couldn't actually buy the tickets using the payment method I wanted to use. So I had to go another day. So a couple days later, I now was able to go see it, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the first one, but was still a really enjoyable experience. I don't know if the sequel will turn into as classic and as cult as the first one, in the sense of just story and execution and what it did. The second one is good. Once again, I didn't know where it was going to go. All I knew was, the only thing that was really spoiled for me was that it literally immediately starts right after the events of the first one. And for a sequel, it was good. This is a bare minimum good sequel. It's just a little bit jarring for me. Like, this movie made me think a lot in the sense of, like, it's been 14 years since the first one, and it's like, especially after, because I just recently watched the first one, so seeing the animation, definitely, absolutely 150% improvement. And it's sort of, for me, it was a little bit jarring because it's like, I kind of like the simplicity of the first Incredibles in terms of animation, and that there's some things where there's details, but it was very, for the most part, there wasn't. It was good enough for its time and now, but seeing then immediately going into the second one, then right away you notice there's so much more detail, like all the little stuff and all that, and like it just it's quality of animation is. I was so happy that the Underminer got a few more minutes of screen time. Um, One disappointment with the movie is that he escaped and then that's it. I mean, let's face it. I mean, 14 years cliffhanger technically between these, and it's like the ending of the first one. It's like, I am the Underminer. I'm here to claim back everything, and all fear me and all that. And then the beginning of the movie, he goes to rob the bank. I'm like, okay, money. I guess good motivation. I thought he was gonna like take over the world or whatever, but like or bring civilization down to underground or something, and it's like, oh no, he was just after money, and then it's like, and then he escaped, and it's like we don't see him again, and it's like I kind of dislike. I like that it could set up impossibly in the third movie, but let's face it, we waited 14 years for a sequel. If they are gonna do a third one, hopefully it's in 1/4 of that time, at least. Yeah, I didn't know where it was gonna go plot wise, especially after that. And it went into this whole thing of um, they're trying to make superheroes look good because the press is negative and all that towards them and all that. They're all like politicians are evil because they're all about, or not evil. Didn't bluntly say that, but like politicians, they don't care about the well-being of people. They're just like, oh, look at all the destruction you guys are causing. Who cares how many lives you're saving? The property damage. People pay taxes and whatnot, and it's like, um, and so they're like, oh, we need to put a positive spin on heroes. And I'm like, okay, this is where we're going. This is interesting. This could be done very well. And for the most part, it was done pretty well. But then, it's right away, like before even um, the supervillain, hijacks the train, like literally just before that happened, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I think it was the scene where Elastic Girl is in the alleyway, looking, listening to police scanners, and they're on the microphone. Um, the brother and sister who are like um, the company or whatever, and doing the news or whatever, and it's like, or the company dealing with the PR for the superheroes and all that. And I'm like right there. I thought to myself, I'm like, I really hope this movie doesn't go down the route of they're the ones created a supervillain just so um, they can make the superheroes look good by defeating a comical villain just because you need a villain in order for superheroes to fight to like the I was really afraid they were gonna go down that route, and they kind of did went down that route, um with the villain being the one who created the the one who was dealing with the creatives of that company, and but she did not tell the brother at all, and um yeah. And so I'm glad they didn't go full out and had the brother in on it too, and just have them be like, oh yeah, the villain's fake, and then I was, and now that I think about it, I'm kind of hoping they could have went down that route, because then an actual villain could actually appear and actually be too much of a threat. Like, I was kind of once again, I'm back and forth on this plot in the terms of love and hate, because I kind of liked it, but then at the same time, I'm like, kind of wish it was something else. I mean, I didn't want them fighting the Underminer for like 2 hours, but now I'm just kind of hoping for the third one they just fight the Underminer for the next 2 hours. But anyways, Jack does kind of steal the show, especially with the audience I was with. Like, yeah, clapping throughout the movie. There's people going, ah, yeah, woo, yeah, woo, and all that. And once again, it was a very enjoyable movie, and for the most part, yeah, positive review. I do enjoy the second one, um, but it's just the 14 years, and apparently I was like 10 when the first one came out, or something like that. I don't even remember my own age now. So having like that disconnect for me, this movie I would probably have loved when I was little. Like, for example, if they made the Incredible sequel like 4 years, even 4 years after they made the first one, I would have probably have loved this movie. But it's just that extra 10 years, and it's like I still enjoyed it, but I'm just turning into a critic. Some callbacks to the original film and whatnot, but for the most part, it just I felt like the first one was definitely done. Like, if you watch the first one, there's moments, editing, shot design, and that where it just stands out, and it's like it's memorable and all that, and jokes and all that. Um, and this one, it had good gags. Some parts was quite funny. I mean, most of it was quite funny for the most part. Some serious parts in this one, but nothing. I don't think anything as serious as the first one. The action was really good and really well done in the sense of just animation. Like, the animation is like Pixar has definitely involved in the terms of action. Like this movie definitely felt a lot more faster than all the other action scenes ever been in all of Pixar's library. Like if you look at like Cars and all, it calls that. I mean, I haven't seen Cars 3 actually, now that I think about it, but like Cars 1 and 2, like the fast paced moments are pretty fast and whatnot, but like The Incredibles turns the action to like 11 in terms of just seeing so many details and whatnot, but wow, it's happening really fast. Like, if you saw the first one and loved it, I would definitely recommend going to see the second one. I kind of disappointed. I kind of am wishing for more. I'm kind of being greedy here. I mean, as much as I enjoyed the film, I kind of wish they, had more to say with it, because they could have went. I was kind of hoping, because I saw the poster briefly and it looked like there was more superheroes in the background, but like I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll go the route of, oh, there's maybe now too much superheroes, and sort of have a play on, oh, there's this like the superhero movies right now. There's so many superhero movies, so many different ones, and all that. So I was kind of hoping maybe they'll play on that, and then um, you know during the movie, I'm like, this whole screen guy, it's obvious gonna be, he's gonna have, he or she, um, I mean, we now know it's she, but will obviously have a commentary on how screens and everyone is on their phones and whatnot and all that. But then I thought to myself, I'm like, Wait a minute. The Incredibles takes place in what, 70s, maybe 60s? Like, I don't remember there being a lot of screens back then. And I mean, granted, this is a little bit sci-fi and all that, so there is technology in the Incredibles universe. Obviously, we got rocket boots, we got jets, we got supercars that transform and whatnot. But I had sort of the same problem in the first one. It's like there's no specific timeline, but you can kind of assume from the setting and the style of it and all that that it has that certain decade type feel. And this movie, I mean, they could maybe be early 80s, but I kind of seriously doubt that. I'm pretty sure they're like, I think mid 70s. And so, I mean, the TVs, the old cars, and whatnot. But it's like, the Incredibles universe of it. So it's like, in this movie, I was like, with this type of villain, it's like, I don't really see there being, screens or what. I don't know. It sort of bugged me a bit, and I had sort of the same problem with the first one, is like timeline wise, um, in what decade? Because some of it felt really modern, like 90s or 2000s, and then other times it's like, oh, we're in the 60s, we're in the 70s. Like it's sort of that back and forth for me. Sort of takes me out of it, but for the most part, I was really engrossed by the movie. Cast did a really good job, especially the fact that because after 14 years, I think voices do somewhat age and change. So they did a really good job of capturing their characters' voices after such a long period of time and make it seem like it literally the movie just picked up from the first one. Really hope there's more Underminer in the sequel. I'm really disappointed by um, after credits. Um, it was let's face it, this is a spoiler review. There's nothing at the end credits except for they go through the logos again, and yeah, I'm like, okay, the music, they have to be building up to something, just something, just anything. And then it's like, oh come on, you're in the age of superhero movies, everyone's doing it, do something, do a gag, anything. And that's like, nope, nope, not at all. Ugh. I don't know. I just feel like maybe I just, my expectation was a bit high. Like, my expectation was like low and high at the same time. I don't know. I'm just having a really weird reaction with this movie for some reason. That's just me. I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I definitely enjoyed it. Oh yeah, I didn't know what version of the movie I was gonna see, because when I bought the ticket, it said it was gonna be 3D, but then the ticket actually didn't say 3D, and then it's like the actual showing thing didn't say it was in 3D or whatnot. So I grabbed the glasses just in case, and then luckily I did, because as I was sitting there reserving my really good seats because I got there early enough, it was in 3D. So I wasn't expecting to see it in 3D, especially the fact that Disney has stopped doing 3D movies. Or, no, my mistake. They stopped releasing 3D movies in North America. And you can insert a whole rant on that, because I am a little bit mad at Disney for what they've been doing with 3D in North America. Uh, Me being a somewhat fan of 3D, and not of 4K, you can definitely see where my distaste lie. But I don't want to turn this into a major rant. Basically, I've been holding out on buying The Incredibles on any Blu-ray because Pixar has the best track record for releasing their movies in 3D Blu-ray. And I picked up, I think, yeah, every single one 3D Blu-ray, except for the ones they haven't released in 3D Blu-ray. And a couple years ago, when they announced they were doing Incredibles 2, they were like, oh, we're going to re-release The Incredibles and Ratatouille in 3D conversion for Blu-ray and all that. And, several years later, the release of Incredibles 2, they decided to re-release The Incredibles on, guess what format? 4K, not 3D. So when the movie said, put on your 3D glasses, I'm like, oh, great. A movie that they're going to show in 3D and then not release in 3D in North America. Great. Viewing the movie specifically, yes, it's fun, entertaining. It was a great way to spend 2 hours. Kind of wish they did either more with it or some slight differences in the way they did things. Not as good as the original. Not as good as the first one. Wow, I said original like if they're gonna remake it, or this was the remake. Oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, so highly recommend it. Fun, great, loved it. Not as good as the first one. The reason I'm stressing that point is don't go into it expecting it to be better than the first one, and you'll enjoy it for what it is. Thank you very much for watching. I want you to have a nice day or night or whatever time you watch this. Have a nice whatever. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought of The Incredibles 2 in the comments down below. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it.